Hi, my name is Chris Ryan. Welcome to the Forest of Arden. In this video, we're going to be reviewing the Hangar from Watson Golf, explaining what it is and how it could help your game. So this training aid is called the Hangar and it's from Watson Golf, and I'll pop a few details below the video, maybe a link to the website and that kind of thing, maybe the social media channels. Let's just start off by saying this is not a paid review. I'm not being paid to tell you about this. It's just something that I saw online. I saw a few videos of it, how it was being used. I actually reached out and I actually got a couple of these for free, so I didn't pay for these, but this is not a paid advertisement. However, on my channel, I have, over the last couple of months, started to maybe do a few reviews on products which I think can help golfers improve. This is certainly a product I think can help a lot of golfers because it addresses one of the most common faults that I see out there when coaching. So I'm going to sort of guess at why it's called the Hangar. I've not spoken exactly to the developer as to why this is the case, but many golf pros have used coat hangers down the sort of side of the golf club as almost like a makeshift training aid to help a golfer sort of replicate some moves that they want to see in the golf swing. So I'm going to guess that that's where this name came from because it is called the Hangar. But this just does the job a lot better. So it attaches to the golf club in two places. It attaches to the top end of the golf club here, attaches to the bottom here, and it's just very simple. There's just two little tightening screws which allow you to put it in place. What I really like about it is once it's on there, it's secure. It's not going to move. You can put a lot of pressure on it and it doesn't really move too much. So what does it actually do? Well, for me, I see this as having two real main benefits to the golfer, and it can often help with two faults that I see. We're going to talk about the main one first. So what it really does is it helps golfers control what we call their wrist conditions. Now, by wrist conditions, we basically mean how their wrists are moving through the golf swing. And we're talking about this movement as opposed to any sort of wrist set or wrist hinge. So we're talking about this movement. Now, when we have our wrists set in our golf swing and we have our arms rotated to the right, what we do with our wrists basically changes how the club face angle is positioned through the golf swing. So effectively, we can use our wrists to open the club face or close the club face. Now, it would not be uncommon to see a golfer who struggles, especially those golfers who slice the ball a bit, those weak ball flights, to at some point in their golf swing get the club face far too far open. Now, when you position the Hangar on the golf club, and there's a few different ways you can position it, but there is a club face that you can see on there, a plastic club face, which helps you get that pretty much set up. When I make my golf swing, if I get the golf club open, now that could be open in the takeaway, it could be open at the top, or more importantly, it could be open down here. This part of the Hangar, so the plastic bit that runs from the club face to the butt end of the club, will be between my forearms. And I don't feel there's any contact between this and either of my forearms. Now, if I try to get this to be in contact with my lead forearm, that would have the effect of turning the club face into a very different position. This would be, at delivery point, pretty much what we'd like to see. It will be very fractionally different for each golfer depending on the shot that you're trying to hit. I appreciate that, but it's going to give you a fantastic way of trying to get that club face more in position. So you can see that at setup, if I take my address position with just a little bit of lean forward of the golf club, the Hangar is not in contact with my lead forearm, nor is it in contact with my trail forearm. But as I get down to this point in the downswing, I can really feel like I'm applying some pressure to the inside of my left forearm. I'm doing that by starting to arch or flex my lead wrist. And what that is effective doing is controlling the club face. So for the majority of golfers I see who do struggle with an open club face, who slice the ball a bit, those really high, weak ball flights and don't strike the ball as well as they'd like, what I would really like them to do is feel like by the time they get to the top of their golf swing, they have got the Hangar on the inside of the left forearm. What that's really done is put my lead wrist in a great position. I can then feel like I maintain that pressure right the way down to last parallel. And then as I go through and strike the golf ball, it's going to help me achieve an impact position where I've got the handle forwards, but I've still got the club face very neutral, fairly square to my target because the Hangar is still on the inside of my forearm. Post impact, we're probably going to start to see it work away from the forearm. And as we go through to the finish, again, we're going to find it's probably not in contact with either of those forearms. So this is a fantastic way for someone to really sense what it's going to be like to have a very neutral club face through the golf swing. As I said earlier, it would not be uncommon for golfers who slice the golf ball to start with a hanger between the forearms, and all through that golf swing, you can see how it's not in contact with my forearms, and often we'll actually get the hanger in contact with the right forearm at impact because that golfer is trying to square the club face by releasing early, handle is back, and we get the contact in the right forearm. So fantastic little training aid and device for those golfers who really feel they need to work on club face. Check out the golfers who play this game fantastic well. Most of them will have very, very good wrist conditions when they get to this last parallel in the downswing. Now, the other thing I see it quite useful for is actually achieving a slightly better position at the top, especially if those golfers get the club what we class as across the line. Now, I actually did a video a couple of weeks ago talking about this position at the top, and it's not something we always want to try and change. It would depend on how it gets there, but very often the golfers who get that golf club a little bit inside in the takeaway will often have the club a little across the line at the top, and from there, as they transition into the downswing, they're excessively steep. This hanger can really help you feel like that club's going to be in a much more desirable position, because when I get the club across the line, I often find that I lose that connection between the hanger on my forearm. Not always, I can still make that contact with the club across the line, but there's a very strong relationship between the wrist conditions and that club being across the line. So if you feel like you're the kind of golfer who gets the club very much inside in the backswing, you then tip it over onto this across the line position. Something like this can really help, because again, you can start to feel like it's in contact with that lead forearm, and you can see how that puts that club in a very much more laid off position, and that might be something that you're working on in your golf swing. So a couple of uses, but I love the simplicity of it. It's really easy to attach, takes me a couple of seconds to put it onto my golf club, and it will retrofit to any of your golf clubs. You don't need a specific type of club. You can put it on any of your golf clubs through your bag, and it's going to give you a great sensation as to how you need to move your wrists better to control the club face. I can guarantee that for many of you who struggle with direction, controlling the club face is going to be what you need to focus on. It may well be you have some other issues in your golf swing, but very often they're a result of the club face being out of position. So I would certainly recommend this. I'm not 100% sure of the price, and I believe it's only available from America. I'm not 100% sure, but as I said at the start, I will pop some details below the video so you can go and check out the website and have a little bit of a look yourself. But I think this is probably one of the best things on the market to help you control those wrist conditions, and that is ultimately going to help you play some better golf. So the hanger from Watson Golf, definitely worth checking out. I think it can help many of you improve your game. Thank you for watching. All the usual stuff is down below. There's a comments box down there, there's a like button, and there's also a link to subscribe to my channel. It is absolutely free. More videos coming each and every week just like this one. Thank you again for watching, and we'll see you again soon.